You know, police asked me for help in identifying this dirtbag, so let's get busy. I'm John Walsh, and I've dedicated my entire life to locking up the worst criminals.
We're tracking down one of the most ruthless gangs of lawbreakers we've ever gone after.
My son Callahan and I are fired up. With your help, we're coming for fugitives, hunting them down, and putting them right where they belong, behind bars, including these that you'll see tonight. A rapper on the verge of stardom is gunned down in cold blood, just steps from a police station. We need your help to track down his suspected killer, Matari Dixon. Then, a scene straight out of a horror movie. 3 people executed and their house set on fire to cover up the crime. The hunt is on for Jason Berman. And later, a teenager goes to a party and is caught in the crossfire of a deadly drive-by. His brother, Fox News analyst Gianno Caldwell, is here and determined to find the killer.
I've been out for justice for families like ours across the country.
America's Most Wanted is the original true crime series, and we're back. You can run, but you can't hide. Hello, everyone. I'm John Walsh.
And I'm Callahan Walsh.
And this is America's Most Wanted. We're back with a new lineup of lowlifes who think they can outrun justice and disappear, but they forgot about one thing, you.
Your tips have helped us take down 1,198 fugitives. And tonight, we're asking for your help again.
And for National Police Week, we want to salute the brave men and women in law enforcement for courageously protecting our communities.
To those who paid the ultimate price in the line of duty, and to the survivors, we thank you and we honor your sacrifice.
Now let's saddle up and get to work. We got some really bad guys to catch. In our first case, we're on the hunt for a fugitive who allegedly gunned down a talented rap star in the prime of his life. James Caldwell Jr. was just 29 years old, and with breakout tracks and videos, he was on the verge of something very big.
Watch how we weather the storm. I always give him fire any record I'm on. Give him my roses while I'm here. Don't wait till I'm gone.
James was a breath of fresh air. We had a very strong bond where he knew he can come to me for anything, and I felt the same way. He was one of my best friends.
Music was an expression for him. It was around 7 or 8 that he took an interest in rap music.
He would have his notebook where he would just like jot down his rhymes.
All the time.
But it started getting serious once he was entering high school.
Play with my space, man, no joint, and I'm all in.
Anytime he could be in the studio, James was going to be in the studio.
Hold up, wait.
He had won a few different showcases, including Coast to Coast Showcase in Miami, that he came in first place. James loved his community. When he talked about his rap career, he was going to give back.
I'm gonna be known for community work, you know, Can't Stop Killing Kings and all that.
It made my heart really proud.
James's music and his message struck a chord with fans in New Rochelle and beyond. But one of his biggest fans was an old classmate named Matari Dixon.
They weren't the best of friends, but they were associates. I believe he made beats.
When we look back on both of their social medias, it kind of seemed that Matari was real eager to collaborate with James. James was like the main character. He was the focal point for a lot of people. Matari was kind of the opposite. Bit of a loner, a little bit of an outcast.
With his career on the rise, James was in a position to give the relative unknown a shot. And in 2021, he decided to collaborate with Matari on a new song.
And I know it's gonna die every day.
Kind of gave Matari a shot where maybe he wasn't ready for.
He should have had it.
The track did so poorly that James took it down off of his YouTube channel. My understanding talking to people is that it was just trash, and it was mainly because of the beat. It was also very evident that Matari felt he was being disrespected and he was being left behind.
April 2022 is when I started to notice the negative comments on James's social media. Matari went from someone, supporting James and James's music to someone now hating on him.
During our investigation, we came across several text message threads. Matari's threatening James, and it was clear that it was well beyond just words. Myself and several members of the Criminal Investigative Division were actually gearing up to make an arrest on an unrelated case. And as we're sitting there, we hear several gunshots ring out. We got a 911 call, shots fired. When we pull up on scene, we see a victim laying face down in a pool of blood, bleeding heavily from his mouth. The suspect had fled prior to us arriving.
When I arrived at the hospital, I felt a family friend grab me. I remember her whispering to me, "He didn't make it." And from there, I felt like somebody was choking me to death.
When they brought me into the room, I said, "I want to see him now." And that's when someone had said to me, that they were sorry that he passed away. And I just was over him crying.
It only took us about 10 minutes to spin up our whole Criminal Investigative Division. It's kind of an all-hands-on-deck situation. We have officers all throughout the city pulling cameras, trying to track the suspect. He's captured on numerous videos. No one in our division knew who he was, but it just so happens that one of the guys that works here walks by and says, "Oh, what'd Matari do now?" And we're like, "Well, you know who this is?" And he says, "Yeah, I grew up with him. That's Matari Dixon."
So here's what we know about Matari Dixon. Take a look. He's a 32-year-old black male, 6'1" and weighs 235 pounds. He has brown eyes and black hair, but his head may be shaved. He also has a tattoo of a man's face on his upper left arm. One other detail about Dixon that might help you spot him: he often wears earbuds or headphones. Dixon is wanted for murder in New York, and the FBI is offering $10,000 for a tip that brings this scumbag in.
Coming up, surveillance video captures the brutal moment when James Caldwell Jr. is murdered and the suspected killer casually walking away. Then, a twisted family nightmare. 3 people shot dead, a house in flames, and the man accused of pulling the trigger is their own stepfather. And later on, an innocent teen is killed in a hail of gunfire on the streets of Chicago. The victim's brother, Fox News analyst Gianno Caldwell. He's fighting for justice and demanding answers. But first, we need your tips to help solve this. Take a good look. In Sacramento, California, this video captures 2 armed men storming a Domino's Pizza just before closing, intent to rob the place. With guns drawn, the 2 suspects demand money from the register. The employee complies, opens the register, and pulls out the cash. But it's not enough. One suspect, growing impatient, jumps the counter and forces her to open the safe. They grab blue satchels filled with money, but in their haste, spill cash across the floor as they flee, making off with around $500. Thanks to sharp detective work, investigators identified one of the suspects as 33-year-old Johnny Battle, a man already on parole. But investigators need help identifying the second thief. He appears to be a thin, light-skinned male, estimated to be around 5'10", with a slight build. If you know who this second gunman is, call us now at 866-AMW-TIPS or go to amwtips.com. Let's get these dirtbags. Now this one is as cold-blooded as it gets. Chilling surveillance video captures the moment James Caldwell Jr. is gunned down, and the suspect, Matari Dixon, strolling away like nothing happened.
James Caldwell Jr., we miss you. Everybody is never gonna forget you.
James's death was heartbreaking for me because it was like, I can't say bye. For my parents, it's probably 50 million times harder.
The pain as a mother, as you losing your child, is just something you'll never forget. And people always say that in time it gets less, but it's just something that it's hard to get through.
Now that we have a positive ID on the suspect as Matari Dixon, the next step is the video evidence. We have a lot of video cameras in the area. You could see an individual in a black hoodie comes down the street. And then several gunshots ring out. We see James try to flee, then he collapses from his wounds. At this point, Matari is running from the crime scene. He turns the corner and he very calmly puts his earbuds in his ears, just calmly walks down the street like nothing happened. And he walks to Metro North train station and he is out of New Rochelle in under 15 minutes. He's out of New York State in under 25.
The FBI was called in to assist with the manhunt.
We were able to track Matari's movements through cell phone records to a bus station in New York City. He then boarded a bus and traveled southbound to Atlanta, Georgia, before finally going north into South Carolina and then into Charlotte. Turns his cell phone off, that's where that trail goes cold.
He is allegedly still armed and a danger to the public. There's a family out there that's praying for good news.
This is going on 3 years. It don't sit right with me with somebody that loved and that loyal. All you could do is pray.
I lost a piece of my heart. And every day, I'm trying to push through. But I know that piece will never return.
It's important to me that we get justice for him because he didn't deserve to die like that. That's my baby, and I will love him forever until I'm with him.
Here with us to talk about this case is Sergeant Tim Adrian with the New Rochelle Police Department. Welcome to AMW.
Thank you.
You were able to ID Matari Dixon pretty quickly. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, within about 4 hours, as we're pulling video from all over, we got video from our cameras, but we also have several businesses in the area. No one in the detective division actually knew who he was, and one of our officers just happened to be walking by the room, says, "What are you guys looking at Matari for?" And at that moment, just everything stopped.
And your colleague that helped ID him, how did he know him? How was he able to spot him and recognize him so quickly?
He went to school with him, and he grew up with him.
Oh, wow. So it wasn't like Matari was a career criminal. He'd been arrested 20 times, and he knew him from that.
Yeah, he knew him from school. He was able to legally purchase that firearm because he'd never been in trouble before.
But how does that change your investigation?
If he was a career criminal, they're going to go right back into their business. If they're dealing drugs, if they're a gangbanger, and sometimes we get lucky, they get picked up on something completely unrelated. And then when their fingerprints come back, we score an easy arrest off of it. That's not going to be the case with this guy. He's not a gangbanger. He's not a criminal mastermind.
But he still eluded capture. Yeah. It seems like he's never really held down a real job and doesn't really have any discernible skills that would help him stay on the run. When you're diving into a suspect like that, what are you looking for?
We're looking to see where he might end up. You know, if he has a certain skill set that we know, if he's a carpenter or something like that, we'd put that out, trying to find out if he's being employed somewhere to keep his money flowing. He has nothing like that in his background.
I mean, is it even possible he's still working in the music industry?
That seems to be his passion, so that would be my guess. That would be what he would be drawn to.
How do you think he's been able to elude law enforcement for this long?
He stayed off the radar. He stayed out of trouble. He's never been arrested before this, and obviously he hasn't been arrested since this. So I think he's getting help from friends and family.
When you say that, in what ways do you think they're helping him?
Financially, giving him a place to lay his head, helping him maybe assume a new identity. People are looking for him, and it's been 2 years now, and he's still laying low.
For our viewers at home watching this right now, how can they help you catch this guy?
Take a good look at him, and if you think you see him, call. There's many times that we make these arrests and people come out of the woodwork later saying that they saw something and they thought it was minuscule or not important. Every piece of information helps. That small piece of information they're holding on to can be what we need to break this case wide open.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Take a good look at Matari Dixon. He's a 32-year-old black male, 6'1" and weighs 235 pounds. He has brown eyes and black hair, but his head may be shaved. After the murder in New Rochelle, authorities believe Dixon boarded a train to Stamford, Connecticut. He may have then taken a bus to Atlanta, Georgia, and traveled on to Charlotte, North Carolina. Authorities say Dixon has ties to a small city outside of Atlanta called Stone Mountain. The FBI is offering $10,000 for the whereabouts and the arrest of Matari Dixon. Call us at 1-866-AMW-TIPS or go to our site, amwtips.com.
Coming up, it's a crime scene truly straight out of a nightmare. A triple murder, a house in flames, and a stepfather who vanishes without a trace. But first, we need your tips to help us with this. Outside a grocery store in Philadelphia is a scene of a terrifying stabbing in broad daylight. At the corner of North Broad and Blavis Street, the suspect is seen here walking into a Save-A-Lot supermarket at 12:40 p.m. The security guard on duty confronts this unknown man, asking him repeatedly to leave. Moments later, the dirtbag pulls out a knife and begins stabbing the security guard multiple times. He's chased by another man, but flees the scene. Thankfully, the security guard survived, but this suspect remains at large. He's described as a 50-year-old, 5'5" African-American male with a medium build. He was seen wearing a green jacket and green camouflage pants, a gray hoodie, and tan boots. Take a look at him again. If you recognize this man, call us at 866-AMW-TIPS or go to amwtips.com and send us your information. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Now, this next case is the stuff of pure evil. A mother, her teenage son, and his girlfriend all shot to death, and their home burned to the ground. You won't believe who allegedly pulled the trigger and lit that match. Take a look.
Our mom, Erin, was everything. My name is Kaylee Dawson, and Erin was my mother. My mother was my teacher, my counselor, the person I called in my happiest moments, and the person I called at my lowest lows. There are 5 of us: Kyle, Heaven, Kendra, myself, Kaylee, and Taylor.
She loved being with all of us, but in 2010, our mom was introduced to Jason Berman.
They slowly fell in love. They were fun together. Their favorite hobby was jeeping, exploring the mountain roads. My mother loved him. She just knew there was something special with him. Jason is Dad in my phone. I called him Dad.
My mom and Jason were together for 8 years before they decided to tie the knot. She seemed very happy with Jason.
In 2018, Jason, Erin, and Erin's son, Taylor, were living in the small rural community of Concrete, Washington.
My mom was the breadwinner. She made all the money while Jason took care of the house. He made sure Taylor got off to school, took care of the dogs, did the grocery shopping, the cooking and cleaning.
By 2022, there was another person spending time at the Berman house, Taylor's girlfriend, Jillian.
At 18 and 19 years old, they were loving and caring toward each other. Taylor was really good with Jilly, and they were great together.
It was my nephew's 1-year birthday party at the lake.
I don't even know if I can talk about this one. My mom and Taylor and Jilly and Jason were late.
We were all, where's Mom and Taylor? Where's Jason? And not even 5 minutes later, I get a call from Detective Jones.
We told Kaylee that we were investigating a fatal fire at her mother's residence and that we believed that we had found her mother.
I didn't quite understand what they were telling me.
The nightmare began just 24 hours earlier.
911, what is your emergency?
I want to report a forest fire. Just black smoke, thick black smoke.
I think my neighbor's house is on fire.
When I got to the Berman residence, the house, which was 3 stories, had completely collapsed to the foundation. As the smoke cleared, we discovered one body, Aaron Berman.
We were able to find 2 more bodies inside the residence. We suspected that the 2 other victims could be Taylor, Aaron's 19-year-old son, and his girlfriend, Jillian Whitney Van Boven.
The police showed up, and they said, we're trying to figure out where your daughter is. So I grabbed the phone and I called her father. And I'm just praying that she's there. And he got there and she wasn't.
Jillian had a German Shepherd, Bridget. She would take her collar off at night. And first responders found Bridget roaming the property without her collar. This led us to believe that Jillian could be in the house.
When Bridget finally was returned to me and I was hugging her and petting her, I looked down at my hands and they were black. It was the soot of the fire that was all over her, and realized that that was also my daughter. That would be the last thing I would have physically of her.
Tragically, a new discovery would make this already devastating event even more heartbreaking.
I mean, it sounds crazy. It sounds like gunshots.
As we're walking around, we're finding shell casings. We now have to consider that this is a crime scene and that it's not an accidental fire. We have 3 bodies burned beyond recognition. We were able to determine that there were 4 cell phones on the property belonging to Aaron, Taylor, Jillian, and Jason. But Jason Berman was not found on the property, nor was his blue Chevy pickup truck. This leads us to believe that now this was a homicide investigation.
Jason Berman is the prime target in this manhunt, so let's haul him in. He's 50 years old, Caucasian, 5 feet 11 inches tall, and weighs 210 pounds. He has blue eyes, is mostly bald, and has gray hair on the sides. Authorities say he walks with a noticeable limp and frequently wears a baseball cap. His truck also disappeared that day, a blue 1994 Chevy pickup model GMT 400 with Washington plates. Authorities are offering a $15,000 reward for information leading to Berman's arrest. If you've seen Jason Berman or his truck, don't wait. This family deserves closure and justice.
Coming up, investigators dig through the ashes and discover the twisted motive behind it all. 2 of the victims' daughters join us with a powerful message about why we have to catch this fugitive. Plus, a teenager murdered in a drive-by shooting in Chicago. Tonight, we're putting a spotlight on this case with the help from the victim's brother, Fox News analyst Gianno Caldwell. But first, we need your help solving this. Montclair, California. A high-end sneaker boutique is hit for the 3rd time in just 1 month. And this time, it's all caught on tape. Inside the Montclair Place Mall, 5 suspects casually stroll into the high-end sneaker and apparel store, Galleria Montclair. Moments later, 4 more waltz through the door. And suddenly, chaos erupts. In seconds, they ransack the store, stealing thousands in designer brands. In the middle of the chaos, one creep repeatedly yells out a name. Hey, Brendan! This crew walks off with over $10,000 in merchandise and leaves behind another $20,000 in destruction. Witness cell phone footage captures them exiting, falling over the very items they came to steal. These guys think they're untouchable, but someone out there knows who they are. If you recognize any of them, call 866-AMW-TIPS or go to amwtips.com. And remember, you can make a difference. Welcome back. As the smoke clears, investigators piece together what led to a horrific scene. 3 people murdered, their home torched, and the man they trusted long gone. We'll be joined by the family members who are still living with the devastation and desperately searching for answers. But first, take a good look.
Over 3 days, autopsies occurred on all 3 victims, and we were able to determine gunshots had been contributing circumstances to all of their deaths.
My mind has just been going crazy trying to figure out what went down. If he got my mom first, if he got Taylor and Jillian first. I'm still in shock.
We believe that the house had been set on fire to destroy the evidence.
We got an arrest warrant for Jason Berman for 3 counts of murder in the 2nd degree. And at this point, our focus was learning everything we could about him. We'd found out he'd been in a very serious motorcycle accident a couple years prior.
He had broken quite a few bones, his femur, some ribs. When he returned home, he was angry. He was angry that his body didn't work as well as it had before. And after the accident, allegedly, Jason got addicted to painkillers.
Jason spiraled from the painkillers after his accident.
I believe there was a lot of arguing about Taylor as well. Jason had vented to me about Taylor being a lazy or sloppy teenager. My mother always stood up for Taylor. She would say, "Settle down, Jason. Stop being so hard on him."
With the spiral, our mom was considering a divorce.
They had recently paid off their house with his inheritance. When we talk about motive, if they divorced, he could have lost everything.
I want Jason in prison. Every day I wake up and am shocked all over again. Jason meant a lot to me. He was just there for me. It's the ultimate betrayal.
It truly feels like 3 chunks of my life are gone. I just want to know why Jason felt that his life was more valuable than Aaron's, Taylor's, and Jillian's. There's nothing that can bring them back.
We are very grateful to have with us Aaron Berman's daughters, Kaylee and Kendra. Thank you for being with us. But first, let me say, I know your pain. I know what you're going through, waiting for justice.
Thank you.
Let's go back to the beginning. You were pretty close to your stepfather, weren't you?
Absolutely, yeah. He'd been in our lives the last 15 years. I mean, we loved him. I thought he loved us and my mother, and he's dad in my phone, so.
My son shares a middle name with him because of, I named my son after this man.
It was Grandpa Jason, you know?
It's inconceivable, isn't it?
Yeah.
What were your first thoughts when you heard there was a fire?
I thought it was an accident.
Right.
The house runs on propane, a lot of appliances and things.
So you thought it might have been an accident and he would be in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just so terrible. So you lost 3 loved ones.
Yeah, our mother and youngest brother are gone.
The boy he raised from 4 years old to 19.
And his beautiful, sweet girlfriend.
How is the rest of the family dealing with this?
I think we're all really struggling. My older brother still lives 15 minutes from the fire. He's trying to move out of there just because, he can't sleep. And we're mentally struggling with a lot of it.
Absolutely. Anger, sadness, all of it.
All of it.
What did he do to make a living?
He had a couple odd jobs over the years, but he really didn't make a living. He drove a dump truck building logging roads for a little bit. He knows all the logging roads. He knows, you know, all the trailheads and the lakes.
He knew the
area
woods
so
He
well.
very
knew
well.
the
And he
area.
knows people that have little cabins here and there, or, you know, and
That
it's
might be
so-
vacant that he could hold up in, because there
Yeah,
are
yeah.
literally hundreds of cabins. up
And there's so, and they're hidden. And then he did drive
He
long haul
drove-
trucking.
So he could have grabbed a long haul truck and drove across the country.
I mean,
if
he's
a
capable
18
of it, I
If he's an
suppose, yeah.
18-wheeler,
Oh, yeah.
he could do that.
He knows
right?
how to do that.
He wasn't working. How do you think he's surviving out there?
Well, he is a hoarder, kind of. I would
Hoarder.
describe him as a hoarder. He likes to collect guns, money, gold, things like that, as well as other like camping gear.
What hobbies or passions did he have?
He loved getting a deal. He loved garage sailing and the swap meet and stuff like that.
So as crazy as he is, or seems to be, he could go to a flea market, right?
Absolutely.
He could pick up stuff he needed. You don't think he's got anybody helping him?
There's been rumors that there's a lady that is helping him or was helping him.
Possible girlfriend. I can't fathom that anybody would want to be harboring him or helping him.
He was a talker. He
Understand.
knew how to talk.
He was a likable person.
Likeable, but did you ever wonder and worry about his behavior?
Looking back now after this, I see that he was possessive over his things and could be frustrated by helping people out. Like everybody's out to use him when that was never the case. We would be going to our mother who.
Right, run into mom.
Yeah.
I just feel if I had seen some signs, maybe I could have talked with her. We had good conversations about relationships, and had I known maybe this wasn't a good relationship, I don't know. I would say I'm sorry.
I know your pain from having lost a loved one, but it's not your fault. You know it's not your fault.
I know.
Your mother was a good, great mother. All of you say the same things, and you all loved her so much.
Every single day, something reminds me of her. I mean, you know, I want to call her right now and tell her how this went. I want to share everything with her.
You deserve the justice. You deserve the peace of mind. And I think our viewers are going to help do that.
Yeah,
Proud of you, the ladies.
Thank you so much.
God bless. Cal.
Let's take another good look at Jason Berman. He's a 50-year-old Caucasian male, 5 feet 11 inches tall and weighs 210 pounds. He has blue eyes, is mostly bald, and has gray hair on the sides. Authorities say he walks with a noticeable limp and often wears a baseball cap. Berman allegedly fled the crime scene in Concrete, Washington, driving a blue 1994 Chevy pickup model GMT 400 with Washington plates. It's possible he crossed the Canadian border where he has relatives. But Berman also has connections to Texas, Ohio, and New York, where he has other family and a work history. If you think you've seen Berman or his truck, call us with your tips at 1-866-AMW-TIPS or go to amwtips.com.
Coming up, an innocent life stolen in a drive-by shooting. The victim's big brother, Fox News analyst Gianno Caldwell, is asking for your help to find the dirtbag who pulled the trigger. Now stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Christian Beeman was just 18 years old. He had his whole life in front of him until he was shot dead on the streets of Chicago. Now his brother, Fox News analyst Gianno Caldwell, is turning to AMW because a killer is still out there, and it's way past time to bring him in. Take a look.
June 24, 2022, my life changed forever when my innocent teenage baby brother Christian was murdered on the south side of Chicago.
Christian Beeman was a high school senior with dreams of college and a bright future ahead of him. But in an instant, it was gone. The 18-year-old was outside a house after a party around 2 a.m. when a black SUV pulled up. Gunman jumped out and opened fire. 50 shots rang out. 2 people were wounded, but Christian was hit multiple times and died at the scene.
I'm 35 and I'm planning a funeral for my baby brother. That shouldn't be happening.
Gianno Caldwell is a Fox News political analyst. And after his brother's tragic shooting, his colleagues made it their mission to highlight his story.
We know today is an emotional day for you.
Gianno, I don't have words. I really don't, except my heart aches for you.
But even after 2 years, the case hasn't been solved.
I continue to march for hope and pray that the people who murdered my little brother are found and brought to justice.
Christian Beeman's murder made national news. But for Gianno Caldwell, this wasn't just a headline.
If I wasn't on national television, people probably wouldn't care. My family has forever been shattered, and so many families across the United States are dealing with very similar tragedies. It is time for us to speak out and hold criminals accountable to ensure that Christian's legacy means something.
Joining us is Christian's brother, Gianno Caldwell, and a friend of mine. He's a founder of the Caldwell Institute for Public Safety. Glad you're here.
It's an honor to be with you, John.
Thank you. You're here for a very sad reason,
Yes.
and something you and I have been involved in for 3 years now.
That's exactly right. It's been almost 3 years we've been having this conversation. 3 years that I've not even really been able to grieve my brother.
Where were you when you found out about your brother?
I was home in Miami when I discovered what happened. My sister Mia called me in a panic, crying, and she said, "Christian's gone." I didn't understand what that meant. I didn't know if he left and went somewhere or what, but she said, "No, he's been murdered."
The nightmare just started. What do you think happened that night? How did he get caught in the crossfire?
What happened, how it happened, I don't know, because in Chicago, just about any place you go is the wrong place, wrong time.
Absolutely.
Not only that, the city of Chicago needs 2,000 new police detectives to handle the current workload. It's an impossible job that they have.
1 year I went there were 800 plus murders, and I think only 17 made it to the courtroom. How is that possible? I always go there and see these families, just like your family. We need not closure, we need justice. We want to put that behind us. It's not happening in Chicago.
That's exactly right. On the day of the funeral, I was outside the church doing television because, and I would rather have been with my family, but the people who did this are still out there. I recognize that there's more help needed, and that's exactly why I'm here.
What do we know about the suspect or the suspects?
From what I understand, it was a black SUV, 3 to 4 African-American men with dreads. They got out at 114 South Vincent Street in Chicago.
Important.
And they started firing. From what I've been told, it was over a Facebook video that was posted of 2 men fighting and one got beat up badly and he wanted revenge for it being posted. Those are the details that we are aware, but I know that the streets know a whole lot more because the streets talk.
I really believe, and I've learned it for the 30 years of doing this, that somebody knows something, somebody saw something. They're usually just too afraid. And I keep saying, you don't need to be afraid. You can get this hurting family justice.
And this is a very unique opportunity for them. One, they can get some reward money, and they can also free their conscience because they know that an innocent kid was slaughtered that night.
Do the right thing.
Yes.
What would it mean to your family if they caught the guy?
Well, it'll be beyond just catching him. We have to really get the justice by him serving life in prison.
Yep.
And I think that's important. And I think it's also important to know, you know, I had this interview when this first happened, and I said, you know, I could forgive this guy. And people said, how could that be the case? Your brother was just murdered. With accountability, there can be forgiveness because this guy can turn his life around in jail. He can be a change agent.
Yep.
You know, my brother, I can never get him back.
No.
But what I can do is make good from his death. And that's exactly why I established the Caldwell Institute for Public Safety.
Right.
In my interactions with members of Congress testifying before the Judiciary Committee on Violent Crime in Chicago on the field hearing, there's so many stories that aren't being told.
Right.
And those stories need light as well. This started about my brother.
Yep.
And I said that his legacy would mean something. And now this is his legacy, to shed light for other families to prevent tragedies like this from happening.
I always said it with Adam. We wanted to make sure he didn't die in vain.
Absolutely.
And we're going to do everything we can. You know that.
I would love that, and I would love your continuous support.
When America's Most Wanted shows up with our white-hot spotlight in that city, we usually get results.
The cases that you have done over the almost 1,200 people you brought to justice has made a difference. And, you know, I just remember watching America's Most Wanted on the Saturday nights and just seeing, like, John Walsh saving lives and bringing people to justice. And I hope I'm able to say here, John Walsh was the guy who made it happen.
Right.
You never get over this.
No.
And I know you can speak to that very clearly, John. You never get over it.
Bleeding hole that never heals up.
Never, never. And it's unfortunate that that's the reality, but I'm in a place where I'm learning about these experiences.
Justice is the only end result that means anything. We're going to catch the guy or guys that killed your brother.
I hope that these cages are really rattled and people are coming forth with new tips that's going to help solve this.
You're a very strong man. Hang in there.
Thank
You're
you,
my friend. We're going to battle to the end here.
Thank you, my friend.
Cal?
You can help Gianno and his family get the justice they've been fighting for and take a killer off the streets. If you know anything at all that could help solve this case, don't wait. Call us at 1-866-AMW-TIPS or head to amwtips.com. And when we come back, we'll take another look at the fugitives we profiled tonight who need to be found and put away for good. Stay with us.
You don't want to miss what's next.
Welcome back. Let's take another look at who we're tracking down tonight. Matari Dixon is accused of shooting an up-and-coming rap star in New Rochelle, New York. Investigators say he hopped a train, then vanished into the South. He's a 32-year-old black male, 6'1" and weighs 235 pounds. He has brown eyes and black hair, though his head might be shaved. Authorities say Dixon is rarely seen without either earbuds or headphones on, so be on the lookout for that. The FBI is offering $10,000 for his whereabouts and for his arrest.
Jason Berman is accused of killing his own family and burning down their house to cover up his crime. He's most likely on the run in the Pacific Northwest. He's 50 years old, Caucasian, 5 feet 11 inches tall, and weighs 210 pounds. He has blue eyes, is mostly bald, and has gray hair on the sides. Authorities say he walks with a noticeable limp and often wears a baseball cap. He was last seen driving a blue 1994 Chevy pickup with Washington plates. Authorities are offering a $15,000 reward for information leading to Berman's arrest.
And please, we need your help to find the killers who took the life of 18-year-old Christian Beeman while he was at a party in Chicago. Somebody out there knows what happened that night, and we need to give Gianno Caldwell and his family the justice they're looking for.
So, if you have any information about these fugitives, don't wait. Every minute counts. Call 1-866-AMW-TIPS or visit amwtips.com. Now, before we go, let's take a quick look ahead to next week and a fugitive we're hunting for. A quiet mountain town.
As beautiful as it is, there's just kind of an evil.
A missing couple and a twisted trail that ends in murder. Now an accused killer is off the grid and on the run. That's next week on America's Most Wanted.
Thank you for watching this week. I'm Callahan Walsh. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
And I'm John Walsh. And remember, you can make a difference.